chapel today. Our Advent journey today continues with the gift of Cindy Larson-Casselton and her colleagues who will invite us into this Advent journey in maybe a new and creative way. So we thank you for your gift to us this day. Thanks to the Communication Studies and Theater Arts folk who are also offering hospitality to us today. Today we welcome Pastor Muriel Lippert. Muriel, will you just stand for a moment, please? Muriel is an ELCA clergy person from Williston, North Dakota. She's here to talk with some students and some faculty about some potential emerging internships that might be available out in western North Dakota. An interesting time for that part of the state, both economically and spiritually. And Muriel will be up in the Wall Student Lounge or up in the Tabernacle at 11:50 for students and faculty to come and visit with her a little bit about some of the plans for this coming summer. Thanks for being with us, Muriel. We appreciate the ministry that you do out there and also your connecting us with the work that's so important in western North Dakota right now. I invite you to stand as we light the Advent candle and as we welcome that with song.
As you come upon the Christmas season, where do you put your focus? On final exams, the hours you need to put in at work, the presents you've yet to purchase, wrap, and or give? Are these the appropriate place to put our focus? Christ did not think so, and neither do we. Today we offer you some stories which are intended to remind us of the ways we should think about giving. So first, let's think about us. You know, often we think we're powerless. What can I do? How am I able to change the world?
There was once a stonecutter who was dissatisfied with himself and his position in life. One day, he passed a wealthy merchant's house and through the open gateway saw many fine possessions and important visitors. How powerful that merchant must be, thought the stonecutter. He became envious and wished he could be like the merchant. Then he would no longer have to live the life of a mere stonecutter.
To his great surprise, he suddenly became the merchant, enjoying more luxuries and power than he had ever dreamed possible. He was envied and detested by those less wealthy than himself. But soon a high official passed by, carried in a sedan chair, accompanied by attendants and escorted by soldiers beating gongs. Everyone, no matter how wealthy, had to bow low before the procession. How powerful that official is, he thought. I wish that I could be that high official.
And then he became that high official, carried everywhere in his embroidered sedan chair, feared and hated by all the people around, who had to bow down before him as he passed. And then, on one hot summer day, the official felt very uncomfortable in his sticky sedan chair, with sweat running down his body. He looked up at the sun that shone proudly in the sky, unaffected by his presence. How powerful the sun is, he thought. I wish that I could be the sun.
And then he became the sun, shining fiercely down on everyone, scorching the fields, cursed by farmers and laborers. But a huge black cloud moved between him and the earth, so that his light could no longer shine on everything below. How powerful that storm cloud is, he thought. I wish I could be a cloud.
Guess what? Then he became the cloud, flooding the fields and villages, shouted at by everyone. But soon he found that he was being pushed away by some great force and realized that it was the wind. How powerful it is, he thought. Oh, I wish I could be the wind.
Then he became the wind, blowing tiles off the roofs of houses, uprooting trees, hated and feared by all below him. But after a while, he ran up against something that would not move no matter how forcefully he blew against it. A huge, towering stone. How powerful that stone is, he thought. I wish I could be that stone.
Then he became the stone, more powerful than anything else on earth. But as he stood there, he heard the sound of a hammer pounding a chisel into the solid rock and felt himself being changed. What could be more powerful than I, the stone, he thought. He looked down and saw far below him the figure of a stonecutter.
The stonecutter was capable of changing the most powerful thing he knew. He simply needed to recognize the power he had. What power do you have? And more importantly, when faced with the opportunity to use your power, do you?
Once when I was a teenager, My mother and I were standing in line to buy tickets for the circus. Finally, there was only one family between us and the ticket counter. This family made a big impression on me. There were 8 children, all probably under the age of 12. And you could tell they probably didn't have a lot of money. Their clothes were not expensive, but they were clean. The children were well behaved, all of them excitedly jabbering about the clowns and the elephants and the other acts they would see that night. Oh, one could sense they had never been to the circus before. It promised to be the highlight of their young lives. The mother, holding her husband's hand, looked at him as if he were her knight in shining armor. He basked in pride. The ticket lady asked the father how many tickets he wanted. He proudly responded,
Please let me buy 8 children's tickets and 2 adult tickets so I may take my family to the circus.
The ticket lady quoted him the price. The man's wife let go of his hand. Her head dropped. The man's lip began to quiver. The father leaned a little closer and asked,
How much did you say?
The ticket lady again quoted him the price. The man didn't have enough money. How was he supposed to turn to his family and tell them that he didn't have enough money to take them to the circus? Seeing what was going on, my mom put her hand in her purse, pulled out a $20 bill, and dropped it on the ground. My mom reached down, picked up the bill, tapped the man on the shoulder, and said,
Excuse me, this fell out of your pocket.
The man knew what was going on. He wasn't begging for a handout, but certainly appreciated the help in a desperate, heartbreaking, embarrassing situation. He looked straight into my mom's eyes, took her hand in both of his, squeezed tightly onto the $20 bill, and with his lip quivering and a tear streaming down his cheek, he replied,
Thank you. Thank you. This really means so much to me and my family.
My mom and I went back to our car and drove home. We didn't get to go to the circus that night, but we didn't go without.
I woke suddenly and completely. It was 4 a.m., the hour my father always woke me up to do the milking of the cows. Strange how habits stick with you. I have not lived on a farm for 30 years, yet I still wake every morning at 4 a.m. Normally I roll over and go back to sleep, but this morning I rolled to my side. I looked out the window and saw an amazing sight. A star, bigger and brighter than any other in the sky. It was then I realized that today was Christmas. With the children grown and out of the house, we had not decorated this year, and the last time I had recognized this star was when I was 15 years old. That was the year I realized how much I loved my father. It was also the year I learned a great lesson about giving from the heart. Let me tell you this story. It was a few days before Christmas when I overheard my father and mother talking.
Mary, I hate to call Rob in the mornings. He's growing so fast that he needs his sleep. If you could see how he sleeps when I go in to wake him. I wish I could manage alone.
Well, you can't. Besides, he isn't a child anymore. It's time he took his turn.
Yes, but I sure do hate to wake him.
When I heard these words, something inside me woke up. I realized that my father loved me. I know now that I wouldn't let him down. No more loitering in the morning, having to be called again. Every morning after that, I stumbled out of bed, pulled on my clothes, dragged myself outside, eyes still shut. But hey, I was up. But this was not a story about every other morning. It's about a Christmas when I was 15. The night before Christmas, I lay in bed and thought about my father and how I wished I had a better gift for him than the tie I bought him. Well, you always get your dad a tie for Christmas. I thought to myself, why hadn't I saved for longer and bought him something more special this year? Well, as I lay there thinking, I noticed the stars, and one in particular. It is so bright that I wondered if it were the star of Bethlehem itself. It got me thinking about the birth of Christ and the conversation I had with my father when I was a small child.
Dad, what's a stable?
It's just a barn kind of like ours.
I remembered thinking,
Wow. Jesus was born in a barn, and the wise men visited him in a barn and brought him gifts in a barn.
it was then I realized what my gift would be. I would get up early, creep out of the house, and do all the milking by myself. And then, when my father went into the barn to start milking, he'd see it had all been done, and he would know who had done it. I must have woken up 20 times and checked my watch. Midnight, 1:15, 2 a.m. At 2:45, I got out of bed, crept downstairs and into the night. I noticed a big star hung over the barn, illuminating the sky with a reddish gold. When I got into the barn, the cows looked at me sleepily and surprised. It was early for them, too. But the task went quicker than ever before. For once, milking was not a chore. I worked quickly and quietly. And when I finished the milking, I cleaned up, put the stool back by its place at the door. When I realized what time it was, I ran quickly back into the house and quietly and darted up the stairs. Back in my room, I had but a minute to pull on my clothes and jump into bed. Hearing my father get out of bed, he pulled the covers over my head so he wouldn't hear me trying to catch my breath. Then the door opened.
Rob, we have to get up, son, even if it is Christmas. I'll go down and get started. Meet me at the barn.
The door closed, and I sat there laughing to myself. It seemed like hours, and I waited for him to return. And then I heard his footsteps at my door, and it opened.
Rob,
Yes, Dad?
you son of a...
He was laughing, a strange, sort of sobbing kind of laugh.
Thought you'd fool me, did you?
And that is when I felt his strong arms go around me, and I crushed him in a great hug.
Son, thank you. Nobody ever did a nicer thing.
I could not find the words to express the love I felt at this moment. My heart seemed like it was about to burst.
Well, I guess I can go back to bed and get a little sleep.
I lay back in my bed and smiled. It was then that I heard him telling my mother all about it. And my heart nearly burst again when he said,
The best Christmas gift I ever had. I think I'll remember it every Christmas morning as long as I live.
Outside the window now, a great star slowly sank. As I roll over and go back to sleep, I look at my wife and realize that my gift for her, a diamond bracelet, does not fully explain my love for her. It's been a long time since I've truly expressed my love to her, and I know now what I need to do. I need to get out of bed, creep downstairs, sit at my desk, and begin writing a Christmas letter to my wife.
Who do you need to write a letter to?
What is the greatest gift you could give?
Do you need to reflect on your life, who you are, and what you can accomplish?
What can you do to help someone less fortunate than yourself?
And when faced with the opportunity to use your power, do you?
text. Now go in peace, serve the poor.
Thanks be to God.